Hello friend, welcome back to my channel. Today I go to show how you configure horizontal pod scaling in Kubernetes. The requirement for these demos, you need to have a Docker and kind up and running in your computer. All the information you need will be in my description of this video. So let's go to the board. Okay, in the board you have a Kubernetes cluster. In a Kubernetes cluster you have a deployment, and deployment have the replica set, and the replica set create the pods. But when this pod starts to receive more questions, the CPU and memory start utilizations go up. The pods can be slow if it's CPU, or the pods go to restart if memory. But if you don't have the horizontal pod scaling, you can scale your application. We need to create a horizontal pod scaling. Let's go to point for the deployment, and they go to check every single second if you change the resource for CPU and memory. That is the request, not the limit. So you put in your deployment. Remember, always you be the request, not the limit. If you have the request and limit with the same amount, like I show you, that's in the limit and request in my another video. So if you put it the same, you don't have any gap for you group your pod when they start creating new ones. Example, if you put a limit and the limit is the same in your request, in the time the horizontal pod scaling starts creating new pods, they just go to use the same limits you have for request because you have the same, but you check if that is more than you need. So the request you have request in limit, you have sure always you have that resource. Just remember that. So when you create, you have a horizontal pod scaling, and the CPU or memory start to go 20%, 30%, 50%, whatever you put the limits in the horizontal pod scaling, the replica set starts to create more pods. So they go to create a new pod and put in here. So these new pods can handle it. These new, the requests, no, if not, they create a new one. So, and they link that, and they go to scaling, the number we have for limiting here. If you have 10, 20, 30 pods, so they go to scaling this application. And after the whole load is finished, the horizontal pod scaling continue check. If you go to the minimal, they start to kill the pods, and these pods start to go away. And you go to the normal request, the normal, and you go to the normal number of pods you have before. If you put the minimal is 1, they go back to minimal 1 if they don't need this new pod. So let's go to the demo so I can show you how this works. Okay, the first thing for the demo, you need to clone my GitHub. So git clone, you clone, cd YouTube, my folder, cd 24, that's the number for this video. So now code with my information. So first thing, I have the make file here with all the commands you need to do. So the first thing, let me open the terminal in here, and I will go to create a cluster with the kind. So create cluster. So they go to create the cluster. So they go to use this kind of configuration we have in here. So let me show all the folders and the files I have in here. You have a deployment. This deployment will have the deployment, and the deployment you go to have a service in the deployment, and deployment, the important thing is about the resource you have a resource and the limits. I put it different, so I give it a little gap for the when I start to receive the requests, my pods can start using more resource, and you go to scale. But the horizontal pod scaling always go to check the request, and let's go to auto scaling. And we have the horizontal pod scaling here. And the horizontal pod scaling, I put the resource and CPU, and I put it 50, and for CPU, I put it 50%, and for memory, I put it 20%. So the horizontal pod scaling object is a simple, have the version, is a horizontal pod scaling, that's the name, and the things you really need to remember, you need to put the name and the deployment. That's the way they go to know what is the deployment. They need to scale up or scaling down. And you have the minimal. That's the minimal replicas I can have, and that's the max. So for CPU and memory, they go to create more 20 pods max. And we continue to have like our application for traffic, just Alpine with the sleep time, and you go to install the application for create the traffic. So the horizontal pod scaling has start scaling, and all the information you need for this little pod is in here. That's a Go application, and you have the Go in here file, and you have the Docker file. How you building, so you can build an X in your computer, or you just using my image, the image I'm putting the Docker file for us in here. So let's continue this demo. So let me back to our Makefile. Let me Makefile. So the first thing, let's make it enable. You have we need to enable the metrics, so you can have the metrics for pods and the metrics for nodes. So you can see that. So the enable. Let's enable this. Enable, and in the enable YAML file for install these metrics is in here, so you can check if you wanted to see. So next, okay, we enable the metrics. Now let's create a deployment. So make, create deployment. So I'm going to create my deployment. So make, create traffic. Let's create the traffic deployment, and let's add the make add the traffic app in the container, in the pods, the traffic pod. And now let's check the metrics. Make, check metrics, make, show node resource. They show the node resource you have, and let's go to make pods resource. So that's the resource you have for pods, and you can see now, and you will see. So next step, let's create a horizontal pod scaling. Make, apply horizontal pod scaling. So they will create. So make, show. Let's check the horizontal pod scaling. Horizontal pod scaling, and you can see you have 15% for CPU, and you have 25% for memory. So now they start to take the method. So that's the resource you use right now, and you have one pod. Let's in here, make a horizontal pod scaling, leave that running. Let's go in here, and let me create more two terminals. The name will be CPU, and the another ones I renaming for memory. So one will be CPU, another one will be memory. Let's start send traffic for CPU. Make is start traffic CPU, and let's create the make start send traffic for memory. Make traffic for memory. So they start send traffic for memory now. So let's go back to here. So you can see now they start using more the limits you have there, and they go to start scaling the pods. And you see you have 4 replicas now, and you have a minimal 1, max 20, and right now we have 4, and now we have 8, and they continue scaling because I send request to the pod, and the pod starts to see they use more CPU, and they start to create more replicas, and you can see, and you can open another tag in here. So make pod resource. So that's the resource for every single pod, you see, and they create more pods. So now you have 20 replications, and they start to receive all the loads you send. So I go to stop now the stress test, and stop in the memory, Ctrl C. And now you see like they start using less CPU memory, and in these ones You see, like they just were using 73, and the horizontal pod scaling, they're waiting for back to be the normal, but when down back to be normal, you continue have 20 replicas to receive all the loads. So if you have a load test, you can see like if your replica, your number of replicas working fine. And if you need to put in more memory, more CPU, more replicas, and you can like see like how you can handle it, the load. So go to stop this in here now. So the last one, now I need to make delete all. So I go to delete my cluster. The auto pod scaling is a control loop that continually monitors pod resource and automatically changes the number of the replicas to keep the resource and the requirement level of utilization of the CPU or memory. If you like this video, please subscribe my channel and like it, and I see you in the next one.